We're going to keep things moving here on Boxtorow. We're joined by a gentleman in his 7th season as the head men's basketball coach at Grambling. The Tigers are 7-2 in SWAC play, in first place, as a matter of fact, and got a home matchup on Saturday, hosting Alabama State. Then on Monday against Alabama A&M. Previous to Grambling, he was the head coach at Stillman. Previous to that, the head coach at Central State. Donte Jackson joins us here on Boxtorow. What's going on, Coach Jackson?
Not too much, but just when you say previous to Central State, that's my alma mater. So, I got to make sure I show the Marauders some love.
Yeah, you always have. Now, I'm thinking you and I talking, we may go back. I know we go back to Stillman. Yep. Do we go back to the Central State days?
We go back to Central State. We go back to Central State because I remember the Kentucky State-Central State rivalry. We talked one time during the Kentucky State-Central State rivalry, and we did a lot more talking when I got to Stillman.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys, you were making it happen. And what's interesting, it was great to meet you. We had never met in person until last year at the HBCU All-Star game.
Yep.
Which was great. It was good to meet you in person. How was that experience for you?
Last year, oh man, incredible experience. The NBA did an incredible job putting on the event. You sit back and you first off, you get to see all the pros in their element, and then the pros are actually interacting with your student athletes in their element, and it's all intertwined. And for our student athletes, what other, venue, event of that magnitude that can they actually participate in? So it was incredible. Last weekend in Jersey was credible. It's just great to play in both those events.
No doubt. 22 games into the season, your thoughts on how the team has played to this point?
22 games into the season. Our non-conference schedule was the 5th toughest non-conference schedule in the country. Coming off a season, you go 24-9 and beat 2 Power 5s. You don't have a chance to sneak up on nobody, so you get the best opponents. So it is what it is. But I feel like our guys are continuing to grow. We kind of added some new guys to go with our old guys, and we're growing. We're getting better, and I think we're in a good space right now just with the way we're playing.
Yeah. Was it difficult, or can you? And maybe it wasn't. I mean, I think sometimes you mentioned a tough schedule. I mean, you lost 9 straight games, but you were playing, like you said, big Power 5 schools. Was that how tough was that in terms of not just the 9-game stretch, but losing those 9 games?
It was tough because in the past we had won some of those games that we could have won, should have won, or whatever. But if the ball wasn't bouncing our way, but throughout that time, I was trying to take small gains and small wins for them because we were getting better. Like we're actually getting better, fellas. Like it may not reflect on the win-loss record, but it's reflected in our play. So we go out there, first game, Colorado. I'll give you a prime example. We play our first home game, we win, but I'm just totally not happy with the way we won. And, I go in there and I blast them. I tell them, if we play like this, we're going to lose by 50 to Colorado. The new guys don't understand how hard they have to play at this level. And I'm like, this Division I basketball for you JUCO guys. It ain't off day. You have to come prepared every day mentally to play your A game. And we go to Colorado, what we do, lose by 50. It is what it is. And slowly but surely, towards the end of the year, we get to Drake and we in a 6-7 point game, and they looking around like we can win. Oh no, we can win if we just play the right way all the time. And this transition to when we got in conference. So I think we're moving the needle forward.
Did it feel you hitting on that the game against Drake takes me back. It was my first time at the SWAC tournament championship last year. That was a tough loss. I felt like you could have won that ball game.
Yes, and then, like I told our guys, we picked the wrong day to have a bad half. Unfortunately, we got down almost 20 points to Texas Southern in that game. We fought all the way back, took the lead, but it took us too long to get going. And losing Jordan Smith that game, he's basically playing the best basketball on our team at that point in time. Even though Cam Christian won Player of the Year, Jordan Smith was playing lights out to go along with Cam Christian. So tough situation, tough momentum change in that moment. But, just a testament to our guys to fight back and make it a game. And, unfortunately, we came up short.
Donte Jackson in his 7th season as the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, as he joins us here on Boxtorow. All wins are great wins, but it's got to feel great to beat your rival. And you did that because you guys, meaning Southern, are right now tied for first place in the SWAC. Kind of talk to us about that win in particular.
Man, first off, Coach Jones at Southern is doing a phenomenal job in his first year down there. You know, Coach KJ, he's a phenomenal coach. You know, he's a Louisiana guy through and through, from being at Centenary as a head coach, Lafayette, Tulane. You know, coaches, has his guys playing really well. And, of course, incredible atmosphere being at home at Grambling. It was a crazy type game. We get down 17, win by 17. So I hope that ain't the case at Southern. But at the end of the day, it's always a hostile game. It's an incredible environment, and it's the Basketball Bayou Classic. So you got to be ready to play.
Yeah, being down by 17, is it something you said? What sort of change what happened with the guys? Like, to go down 17 in that game, no less, and to ultimately come back and win by 17. I mean, that's two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Listen, I told you, Coach Johnson had his guys ready to play. And, our guys came out there, I think they were ready to play, but we kind of just didn't make the shots early. It was open shots, missed layups. We had some bad turnovers. And, we went into half, and I talked to them about life. And, and life is about adversity. And how do you counteract adversity? The tale of a real man is when you're down, are you going to get up? And got some real men in that locker room. They got up and found a way to make it happen.
Donte Jackson, again, in his 7th season as the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, joins us here in the program. As, of course, the Tigers are going to be at home on Saturday against Alabama State. Kentavious Dozier's one of the players, right? Like, he's your leading scorer. You got some guys that can really play, but speak to what he's meant to this team.
Man, Kentavious is an incredible person, and that's the best compliment I can give any basketball player. He's a better person than basketball player, and he's a damn good basketball player, just to tell you the truth. Coming into, recruiting him, he was the leading scorer in JUCO. We recruited him his freshman year. We tried to get him his freshman year. He went back to JUCO, came back his sophomore year. We were all over him. We signed him early because we knew he was one of those guys. And he's a guy that brings it every day, a hard worker, competes at a high level, and he's just always ultra positive. It's so funny. It's like, hey man, you should have made that shot. Man, Coach Steph Curry missed too. It's like, always just so positive, man. He's just a positive, incredible young man. And, that's the type of kids you always want to recruit in your program. People that's actually phenomenal basketball players, but a phenomenal person.
I think it's interesting having come from, the Midwest yourself, Milwaukee, having played at Central State, coached at Central State. Now you go to Stillman, but now you come to D1 ball in the South, and took a Grambling program that had been struggling, and you're winning. You've only had one losing season in 7. So speak to how you've been able to sort of really build this program and turn it around from where it was.
Well, first off, I always give credit to Sean Walker. Coach Walker, but who I far got here, Coach Walker, he kind of laid a good foundation. So we walked in, we had some good players here. I brought in some good players. And, at the end of the day, I always tell people, man, it's basketball. Discipline, accountability, and players. Like, you got to give them discipline. They got to be accountable. And more important, you got to have some players. So, once we kind of put that into, got that rolling. The guys, they all bought in. And I'll never forget, we were just in Jersey this past weekend. We had one of our former players, Jason Perry Murray, who was on our first regular season championship team. He came back and he talked about that midnight practice, coming in, making these dudes practice at midnight. And I always told them, winners find a way to win. And that's been, one of the things we tell people, like, you got to find a way to win. Like, by all means necessary, you got to figure it out. Sometimes you might got to box out. Sometimes you got to make shots. Sometimes you got to set screens. But you got to do whatever you need to do to win. And just having these guys believing and sacrificing for one another, because this is a family. This is a brotherhood. No matter what they do, when they come back for homecoming, they're going to be looking for each other. So you want to make sure that people know that you was one of the best teams that played here.
Donte Jackson, the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, joins us here on the program. A couple of more thoughts. Is this more, your team, is it more of a veteran team? Is it more of guys that you've kind of bring into the program and mesh together? What kind of team do you have?
It's a veteran team with some new young guys that's meshing. So at times, you can look like, man, well it ain't flowing right. But at times you can see where it can really go. But I got to give credit to Tremichael Moten, Jordan Smith, and Zahad Mumford. Tremichael Moten and Zahad Mumford were the first group of freshmen we recruited here 6 years ago. It's funny with COVID, right? 6 years ago.
Right.
But first group, they go into their sixth season, so fifth season, sixth season. But we recruited them, and they got the COVID year. They came back and they Grambling through and through. So it's just culturally, they're always telling dudes what needs to happen. Jordan Smith, culturally telling guys exactly what needs to happen. And just having those guys be able to be leaders for us, through thick and thin, it's just been amazing. So now our younger guys, we like Kentavious Dozier, Antoine Burnett, Michael Stevenson, they get an opportunity to play, but they're playing alongside leaders. So now whatever it may be going on, when it get too rough, they got somebody to lean on. And that was one of the things, it was a challenge early because we're playing some of the young guys and the older guys like, man, coach, we should be playing this way. No. If we're going to win SWAC, we got to play this way and get used to playing this way. And, it's just it's a balancing act for all those guys because they all want to be on the court. They all want to make a difference. But it's a process that we all have to go through to get to the best version of this team.
Alabama State, your thoughts on some of the challenges that the Hornets present?
Coach Matlock does a great job with his team. They do a great job of getting up and down. They got several different guys that score well. You always got to worry about his son and CJ Hines, those two in the backcourt. So Isaiah Range, we just got to do a good job of, contested shots, making sure we keep guys in front of them. And, we got to rebound at a high level. And then we got to do a great job of executing because if we turn the ball over on them, they get out in transition so fast. So we got to do a good job of executing, making sure we hit shots and take care of the ball.
Last thought, before you even came into this job, you think about the Grambling name and what Grambling has meant over the years, not just to HBCUs, but to college athletics. Specific. You got Willis Reed, right? You got Larry Smith, some really good players that are basketball players, but it's been known for football, right? Yes. So did that? What did you kind of think about that? Did you think there, maybe difficulties in terms of building the basketball brand because football's so big?
Well, nah, actually, that's kind of one of the things that attracted to me because you could kind of just go to work and just lay your foundation and go to work because majority of the time the eyes is on who? Football. It ain't always on us, but we just got to do our part to just carry the torch whenever it's our turn to carry the torch. So, I wasn't scared. I actually embraced the Grambling name. Like if it's any HBCU you want to be at, it's at Grambling. Like Grambling is, the name, its history, its culture, and it's national. So we can go from DC, we can go to LA, we can go to New York, we can go to Milwaukee, we can go to Chicago, and people gonna know Grambling. And it's nothing like being in a household name. It's kind of like it's for me, I look at Grambling as, one of those Dukes or whatever. It's our HBCU Duke. We just got to make it that all the time.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Donte Jackson, 7th season as the head men's basketball coach at Grambling, joins us here on Boxtorow. The Tigers are going to be at home on Saturday against Alabama State, at home on Monday against Alabama A&M. Coach Jackson, always great to catch up with you. Appreciate the time. Continued success to you and the Tigers.
Man, I appreciate you having me, Mr. Ware. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.